And here we are together, dear Alana. It only took us technophiles like 3 minutes to work it out, but we're only 5 minutes after we said we would be, and I'm so excited to hang out with you. Any excuse to hang out with you, really. I'll take it.
Thank you.
And I was going to introduce you by the wrong name as well, because you're Alana Brooks now.
I am, yes.
How's married life treating you?
Married life is good. It's interesting.
That is such a good word for it. I had such a big argument with my husband this morning. It was actually a really silent argument.
Yeah.
I had that momentary thought of, God, relationships are so hard. Why do we do it? But hopefully you're still in that romantic phase. Having been to your wedding, and Alana was such a beautiful bride, it's hard. It's hard work, though.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
I don't know what to say about it yet. I don't know. Marriage is funny. Like, I don't know what I expected, but it's not what you expect. I don't know. Yeah, that's very vague. You expect. I don't know. I thought, oh yes, this is going to solidify everything, and it is. You walk around like I'm a married person. Like, I know that sounds very vague, but you're like, this is my unit for life now. Like, that's it, and it's fantastic. But then it brings like a new level of interconnectedness with each other that you just didn't even know was a thing until you have that security together. It's really lovely.
Yeah, it is. And I know from first-hand experience of hanging out with you that a lot of the tools, see how I'm going to take it now to the program, that you learned in the Initiate program really do help in a very practical way in your life to kind of help keep you together.
100%. And also, like, my partner calls all of this my hippie stuff, and he's fine to do so. It doesn't matter if he cares or knows what I do. However, like, I remember after we came back from Bali, because we're doing the third level, and I started tapping by proxy for him, and it made my life so much easier all of a sudden. And I did it, I think, 3 days in a row, and he was going through some stuff that he's not going to share and process it like we do. So I just was tapping for him, and the second day, I came out back into the room, like, I'm not going to let him hear me do it. And I came back out into the room, and he was like, oh, it's so weird. I just, like, feel like I'm not even affected anymore. And I burst into laughter, and I was like, wow, like, it's amazing. Like, a lot of people tap by proxy for their children. And I wasn't sure if many people were tapping by proxy for their husbands, but seriously, get onto it, ladies, or gentlemen, for your wives, whatever. It just makes everything a lot more harmonious. And I told him, and he goes, oh, what do you say? And I told him what had come to mind, and he's like, oh yeah, that's, like, it was very accurate. And it did. And he goes, like, I don't know, I just, like, you walked back into the room, and he just was not in a mood anymore. And that's my big thing that's why I love all this so much. I was very much a show me the evidence and then I will believe you type of person, before I found you, and then eventually I went on to do the Initiate course, and now third level. But the thing that scared me initially was that I didn't know why it was working. Yeah. But there was these profound changes in my life. Yeah. And I know this is supposed to be about the Initiate course, so yes, let's talk about it. I honestly think they should throw algebra out the window in school and teach from birth, like like the things that we learn in the Initiate program. I mean, I posted the other day about it, and it's, if you do anything in your life, do the Initiate program. If you have ever had any struggle or anything come up against you, which we all have, and you maybe haven't, you can reflect on it after the fact and go, well, maybe I didn't deal with it very well, but you probably don't know how to deal or process those things. The Initiate course teaches you how to do life with ease and grace. It gives you just these amazing tools. Like, not everyone needs to go on and do third level like some of us, including myself. We want to change the world and spread this knowledge to as many people as possible. And personally, and that's why I'm doing it, I guess, I don't know how you could learn these things and not want to shout it from the rooftop and give it to people, because it's like, why is anyone suffering? However, most people don't want to be spiritual leaders, and that's okay. But just everyone should do the Initiate course, because the profound effect it can have on your daily life, anything you're going through, even if it's a snide person at the shops, if it's like serious relationship issues, if it's even death. Someone very close to me died while we were doing the Initiate course, or just prior to, and I wasn't coping very well. And as soon as the Initiate course started, I was just handed these tools on a platter for life. Like, that's how I describe it to everyone, it really gives you the tools to know happiness within yourself and in your 3D reality, no matter what you're going through. And anything that anyone watching, anything you think of going, oh, surely it couldn't help me through whatever catastrophic situation I'm in.
Yeah.
I challenge you, do the initiate course and tell me that later, because there is nothing you can't survive or like mentally and, you know, cope with at all if you do the initiate course. And once you do that, it leads you down different rabbit holes depending on what your interest may be or what really you really thrive off. Mine is the whole science behind it, and I love it. But whether or not you were to go on to do the third level afterwards or not, once you learn these things, you can't unlearn them. I would probably give $1 million to someone if they said they did the initiate course and then went on and never used those tools again, because I could almost guarantee you'd be lying. And whenever I find myself in a situation when I haven't been leaning into it towards my tools, I get really frustrated at myself now, and I'll go, and I'll quickly lean into those tools, and all of a sudden life's back on track, and it's literally as easy as 5 minutes. And I remember doing the initiate course, and I did it live with you. I didn't do the self-study, and I thoroughly recommend that for anyone as well, because the chance to talk to the other people that are doing the initiate course at the same time, everyone is doing the same tasks and things week by week, and everyone's going through the same thing. So it's not just you going, oh my God, this is crazy, what's happening for me. Everybody has the same reaction in their life, and it's profound. And just being able to discuss that with like-minded people experiencing the same things, it's really beneficial. And any little questions you might not want to put your hand up and ask, someone asks. I love the initiate course. I as I said, I thoroughly think throw out algebra, put it in schools, because if children were taught these tools, I feel like we would stop generations of hurt from happening. Yet they would be able to deal with a lot of it, our subconscious crap, so to speak, goes in when we're children, teenagers, and things like that. A lot of that's where it all really starts. And to give them the tools then, it'd be amazing. I'm fortunate enough, I'm only in my mid-20s and I've been given these, and I know so many people who suffer, and I just think, give them a chance, you know. And anyone I know who's going through a really bad time, I always go, you should check out RJ and the Institute. And everyone thinks I'm a bit bonkers anyway, prior to my spiritual path, so I'm a bit what's the word, ecstatic, overly enthusiastic about things. So people go, oh yeah, Lana, but honestly, it changed my life. It set me on a completely different path. And even my immediate family, who know me to be quite erratic, I find them coming to me now to calm them, what's going on with me. And, you know, I can just sit there and go, okay, close your eyes, and here 10 minutes later, they're feeling better.
Yeah.
And it's not a quick fix. Oh, it is a quick fix, sorry, actually. It's not something that, you may have to continue to do certain things and dig deeper and whatnot, but you do these small practices that are so easy.
Yeah.
And you release.
Yeah.
And people would think, and I know a lot of people have said to me even, if it's that simple, it can't be that simple. There's got to be more to it. And it's like, why is it so hard to believe that a simple thing can profoundly change your life?
Yeah. Take
a chance. What have you got to lose?
Yeah. Oh, I just have to tell everyone that Alana is not being paid for this, by the way. Everything that is coming out of your mouth, I'm like, oh my God, that is exactly it, isn't it? It's that, you know, and I have to give you huge credit here, my darling. You are so willing, and you are so prepared to get fearless and free, and you've been like that from the moment I met you. But I think your journey is particularly powerful because when we first met, your life was in deep chaos.
100%. And I'll tell for everyone as well, it'll be part of when I brand myself as well, and I have no shame around it at all. I was in a abusive relationship. I just left it. I was on my own with my son. I was struggling financially. I barely left the house. I was just consumed by fear. And my sister said to me, oh, you have to see this woman, and she booked me in, and she even paid for my session. And then Ricky used to host these inner priestess nights, which were fantastic. And she'd already booked me in for the session, and I went to the one inner priestess night, and I was speechless on the way home. I had never felt other people's energy before, or knew what that felt like. And I remember the door opened at the end of I think they went for about 90 minutes or so, I can't remember, and the door opened, and I felt like, oh my God, and like it was like the energy was escaping the room. And she was, my sister's already on this spiritual path, and she sort of knew, and she was excitedly chatting the whole way home, and I just sat there and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, I couldn't see anything, but all these things were happening. And then I had my session with Ricky Jane, and like you said, I was just so willing. I was in a place where I was like, this is my rock bottom. I have nowhere to go but up, so I will give anything a chance. And I needed to heal, and I had no clue how. And so I just went in so willing to my method session, which I didn't even know was called a method session at the time. And I remember my homework that you gave me. And this is the thing, everything is so simple. I will never forget the homework you gave me. You said to me, Alana, you need to say no every time you don't want to be doing something, because you don't ever speak up, and you find yourself in these situations over and over again where you know that you shouldn't be doing that, or it doesn't feel right or whatever, and you sit with it. And I just sat there, and my whole life flashed, like even, high school and peer pressure and whatever just flashed. And I was like, yeah, I literally think, oh, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I don't want to offend someone or whatever. And at the core of that was that I just didn't think I was worthy to be heard. And that was what had caused me to get into these situations and to be where I was at rock bottom. And you said, do you have to be relentless every single time? Don't give up, like you cannot just cave. And it sounds silly, but the first I went home, and my mum had been checking on me, and my sister, between the two of them, one of them would come to my house every day, and I was like, I don't need babying anymore, but I was just making sure I was okay. And mum called, and she said, okay, I'll be over at 6 o'clock, and I will have chicken and chips. I'll bring chicken and chips. And I just went, like in my inside, I was like, I don't want her to come over. But the old, before my session, me would just be like, okay, whatever, other people run my life. Yeah. And I said, no. And there's a huge pause. And I remember you said to me, people aren't going to say, no, you can't have your own opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I started saying no, relentlessly. And about 6 months later, I had a moment of cave where I said yes to something I didn't want to do. And halfway there, I actually was physically ill on the side of the road. I had to pull over, and I vomited, and I called my sister, and she goes, because she's obviously known you for how long, and she's like, yes, and you used to be very comfortable walking around life with this feeling that now not knowing that feeling has made you actually physically sick. And I just went, oh God, I'm not honoring myself. And that's what when you always talk about honouring yourself through videos and things that people will see on Facebook and whatnot, that's what they mean. That's what you mean. It's honour yourself, honour your journey, like be who you need to be relentlessly, because there's no point in pleasing other people if you're not pleasing yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah. And anyway, that tiny little basic practice of saying no set me on a path that literally changed my life. And by speaking up, that was my biggest block at the time. Yeah. I then started doing what I wanted, and things were coming to me, and from someone who was deeply in debt, fear of life and existence and going out and doing everything. Well, my son's 3 now, and he was probably about 6 weeks old when that happened. In the last 3 years, I've got completely out of debt. I re-met the love of my life, who I had known since I was 14 years old. We have got married. Yeah. We now have a beautiful house. We've been through hell and back during that year, but I swear to God, I never thought I would be able to do the things that we've done in the last 3 years, let alone have someone who would stand by me and be there with me. But the more you uncover about yourself, the more you lean into these practices, the more what you deserve and what is already there for the taking appears in your life.
Ah, J-Ma, sister, you know every word.
J-Ma.
Yeah, so J-Ma means victory to the mother, and it's something we say a lot in the 3rd level to celebrate, and the Initiate program, to celebrate that return to truth, which is that, the events of the last year, you've had some incredible highs and some incredible lows, but you've met all of them with the same consistency, the same emotional consistency. And what what your life was like before was like an emotional roller coaster, which was exhausting.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you know, when you speak about your life events, like recently when your house fell down around you,
Yes.
you met it with such grace. And I know that would have been impossible at the time when we first met, because you know, the story that was there and the way you received the world was, as you say, through fear. So you have taken every offer, Alana. That's the thing about why I love you so much, is that you've never said no to me. You've always been willing to, and by that I mean you've never said no to yourself.
Yes.
Since someone said to you, hey, you've got a choice here, you've actually actioned it. And I think that it's a credit to who you are. And I do agree. I think it's the community of both the Initiate program and then the third level that you do have that sense of support.
100%.
Yeah. Amazing.
And in the Initiate program and in the third level, and a lot of the women who I did the Initiate program have gone on and are in the third level, my current intake. The support that these women have given me are like none that I receive in my daily life. It's amazing. It really, like when they say, oh, you build a community and a group and whatever. No, like the community that you have built surrounding the Institute is unfathomable. I remember arriving in Bali for the third level. I think I'd met 2 of my fellow priestesses maybe prior, 3. That's it. Yeah. And then there's like 30 of us and we all knew exactly who each other were. And I'm no hugger. I'm not, you know, and I was like, oh my God, come here. It was like family. I miss it. I wish we could go every year, or we could all congregate in places like frequently, because the support. And then we left, and that support is unwavering. No matter what any of us are going through. Well, I know for myself, I reach out to my third level before I reach out to my family. Because there's that fantastic support and complete lack of judgment. But B, we all look at life the same way. So when one of us is having a lapse, the other kindly reminds us what we already know and what we already know we need to be doing.
And I think that's so important, because I think the truth of it is exactly what you say. It's not like you reach a magic point and all stuff happens and suddenly you figured it all out. You have to keep showing up every damn day to the 5 minutes or the 20 minutes or however long it's going to take you to get yourself back where you want to be. But you can't just kind of do it once. And I think people often look for a magic bullet, like find the quick fix to enlightenment and then I'll buy it.
No, there's no quick fix. There are tools that you can quickly lean on, even while driving in the car or whatever. Like there are those type of things, but once you learn this stuff, you can't unlearn it, and you can't pretend like you don't want to use them, or that you know it just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. It's like, here's the universe. This is how it works. This is how we as humans can exist in the happiest state, and everything is of the mind. So in the happiest state of mind, no matter what's going on. That's Initiate course on a platter. People should, that's why I say people should learn this in school, because would you like to know how to be human and everything that your birthright entitles you to have access to? And that's as basic as it is. Like I love the Initiate course. As soon as you said someone you wanted to interview someone for it, I was like, oh please, like I am just the biggest advocate. Like as she said, she's not paying me for this. You don't need me to. You see me on the street, you ask me for it. This is what you're gonna get.
I think though what you've done is you've described it in ways that make it I think understandable, because I think very often there's a lot of spiritual programs that you can do. Like it's not like there's not a lot of choice out there. But I think what I often struggle with is how to convey that even though this is the foundation of all knowledge and truth, it's not a beginner course. It's not like how to read tarot cards. It's not about that. It's about inheriting your birthright, and you articulated that so beautifully. And I'm so grateful for that, because you've given me another way to talk about it now that is actually so true. It's like, this is what you should have been told, and you never were.
100%. And also a lot of the people I know aren't very spiritual, and as soon as I mention spirituality, I can just see them, in the past, tune off. So I've quickly, as soon as I sort of started doing this and outed myself as a spiritual seeker, I knew exactly how to tell the people that I experience in life about it, because so many people I find, who I come across, are put off by the whole spiritual aspect of it. And whether they need to know it or not, here are the tools. This is what will help you. And once you know them and you've given that a chance, you understand why it comes under spirituality. But it also comes out under like
life,
facts of the universe.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because we go through the quantum physics paradigm and we're talking about the science, you can find language to talk about it with muggles and feel safe, because, you know, my mission is to mainstream the intuitive sciences. And it's our job to find a way to convey this stuff to people who are terrified of the idea of God or spirituality, and it's okay for us to have to figure that out, and that's what a spiritual leader does, and that's why you're in the third level. And I love that you're doing that for your community, because everybody needs this. And it doesn't, you don't have to be going after God. Eventually you'll figure out what you truly are, but you don't have to start there.
Well, that's it. And I mean, and you know yourself, I had a major problem with the word God for so long, because I would picture it as this like Christian deity, and I was like, crock, that's a whole crock of rubbish, the earth's flat. And that's not what we mean when we say God at all. God is you. I am God, you are God, there's only one of us here. You'd have to look into the intuitive, the course. This is through the institute, and you'll understand what we mean. But only this year, I think sometime after Bali, so I'm doing the third level, was I okay with saying the word God?
Yeah.
And actually, it was only a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine's partner said to me, "Oh, so are you God?" And he joked. And I said, but he was interested in sort of what I'm doing. And I said, yes. And he just looked at me like, hang on, what? And I said, but you are too. Yeah. And he was just like, oh, and I'm like, I'll just leave you to, you know, think on that. But like you were saying, your aim is to mainstream the intuitive sciences. And because I have dove deep down the rabbit hole already, I'm currently reading this book by Alice Bailey, which was written in like 1920 something. And she does a whole thesis on things, and the one I'm reading at the moment is called Esoteric Healing. And every time I read, like I have to pretty much near on write out each page in layman's terms because of how it's written, but I also really struggle to do that because the English language was used so beautifully in the past, and now we have slang and whatnot, and I can barely translate it into layman's term. I see it and I'm like, yes, but how can I write notes on this? And so many times I just go, God, she's got it. You really have mainstreamed this information that we all need. Because as I said, I try and I sit there, I go, I can't write it any other way, but I know it. But then I go, oh, this is what Ajay's talking about. Like, and it is. I so often see the exact same thing, and I think this is just genius. And these books, like she started writing books in 1920 something, and she's not the earliest.
No. The Hermetic laws are from the time of ancient Egypt, you know. I think that's the thing, though. What I love is that you are so committed to diving deep down the rabbit hole. I've never read anything by Alice Bailey, but
fantastic.
I'll have to go and get it now. It is. You know, this stuff is ancient, and when you hear truth you'll hear it repeated everywhere. And I think that's the thing, is that it's not about inventing something new. It's about recognizing that we have an ancient lineage of deep wisdom to tap into, and all we have to do is find it and what excites us and go towards that. And you're doing that, and I just love your enthusiasm for it, because it's like, oh my God, how does that woman have time? Does she not have a toddler running around?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you're amazing, my darling.
That's fun. He's gorgeous. He's good.
I prefer to read than sleep a lot of the time. I know there's a few of us like that. So you have to be really careful not to get into it too close to bedtime, because it will go badly. Yes. But, my darling, thank you so much. I really am so grateful. And I your generosity and your enthusiasm is just melts my heart. And I've loved you from the moment I met you, and I could see what was possible for you. But you've never hesitated to step into your power, and I'm lucky to just get to watch that journey unfold because you've made it happen.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for what is coming for you. And if you want to spend time with Alana, we'll share her details too, because she is growing a business and she is a method, you know, she will very soon be qualified in the method, and you know, she's a remarkable intuitive already. So we'll make sure everyone knows how they can hear more about you and your Facebook page as well. So is it AK Nation?
Yes, it's AK Nation.
Yeah, very cool. Much cooler than like Ricky Jane Adams. That's my name. And yeah, go and follow Alana, and she's just starting to get into doing her own lives, and I'm excited to see more of those happening, please.
Yes, thank you for forcing me to do this as a live, because I have been thinking about it daily and I'm like, oh, I have the time, and I've just not been doing it.
Just got to jump on it. So thank you everyone who's joined us, and if there's any questions, I'll jump in and answer them or respond to them now. And thank you, dear Alana. Let's hang out again really, really soon.
Thank you. Bye. Mwah.